Being a reseller is easily one of the most clowned on professions that a person can have, and it's for pretty good reason too. These dorks are the closest thing that we have to human parasites. They like to fee-fi-fo-fum their way into any business and buy out the entirety of the stock, probably even going to the back warehouse and buying that up too, leaving nothing for the actual fans of whatever they're purchasing, which most of the time is children. That way, people who actually want the product are forced to buy from scalpers whose main goal is to make, what, like a 30-cent profit? A lot of the times they have a rather large circumference. They're a little more rotund than the average human, usually rocking a neck beard, some sort of Marvel superhero t-shirt, or it's some little scrawny, pasty white kid. As soon as he steps outside, the sun reflects off him and right back at you. Ah, my eyes! However, one community in specific has been affected the most by these scalpers, and in their insatiable, incurable greed, they pretty much managed to ruin the entire hobby for everybody else. Pokemon. The main person you can thank for this is Logan Paul, who during the pandemic would regularly post videos where he would spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on cards that ended up being fake at the end of the day. I imagine that Logan Paul posting his first ever Pokemon card video is like the 9/11 for this community. Ever since he posted it, they've been nearly impossible to get your hands on. Ever since 2020, it's pretty much been this way. Pokemon cards continue to be scarce throughout all different types of stores, especially Target or Walmart or Costco. Some stores even just straight up stopped selling them, and that's because of the way people have been acting. There have been legitimate fights. And trust me, this isn't like your abuela with a wooden spoon on your ass cheek. No, this is full of like grown-ass dudes having full WWE smackdowns, playing Super Smash Brawl in the middle of public, all to get their hands on whatever booster pack is being released. The biggest culprit for this is Costco. Listen, man, I indulge in Costco every now and then. I'm a fan of the $1.50 hot dog. I do enjoy an ice cream cone from there. However, what I'm not the biggest fan of is that for some reason, Costco has this inability to realize the severity of what's going on in their stores with people beating the shit out of each other. But despite this, they for some reason refuse to put a buy limit on all the people who storm their way into the store and just buy everything that they possibly can. It's gotten so bad that in some instances, people aren't just, fighting with their fists. In one instance, things escalated from a fist fight to a shooting. I have more respect for people who take candies from babies or rob houses from people with Alzheimer's, because at least they're taking stuff that they want. I'm not even just talking about the cards. It's pretty much anything to do with the brand. Cards, watches, Lego. I wouldn't be surprised if they're buying butt plugs so long as it's branded with Pokemon in some way, shape, or form. Since I already mentioned watches, I feel like it's worth bringing up that the AP Audemars Piguet.
Audemars Piguet.
Dude, there's no way. What the AP and Swatch just did a collab, and people were camping outside of the stores in order to get their hands on it. This isn't even a limited time product. This is actively going to be restocked. Genuinely, sit down and explain to me, what the f is the logic of buying something that's going to be restocked again in like 2 weeks? Again, a lot of this is thanks to influencers who popularized it on social media. They usually blow up on social media and then slowly fizzle out and die. One thing that I didn't even know was being scalped up until recently that people were buying and reselling was Nidos, which is like these little squishy gel stress ball things. Nidos are kind of similar to Pokemon, well, everything is kind of similar to Pokemon cards in the sense that people will get in the stores and film each other fighting over just garbage. That's probably gonna end up in a landfill in, 2 years, if that? Nidos are another thing that blew up on TikTok just recently. I'm assuming it's because of the fun, little squishy, satisfying, I guess? If that's not it, I have no idea why. I used to buy these at 7-Eleven. I've had a Nido since before they were cool. Nowadays? Oh, no. You'd have better chances trying to find like an authentic African blood diamond than one of these things in a shitty used condition. I don't know, man. I f with Nidos because I like to squish them, while I'm editing or doing something. I think they're cool, but I don't think they're cool enough to bring myself down to the level of buying from, or no, I'll go as far as to say even interacting with a scalper for a Nido. paying $180 on eBay? Bro, I'm not about to pay anything over $5 for a Nito just so I can squish it around. I got my balls at that point. What the f? I'm not paying any sort of premium to buy something that definitely costed maximum 2 cents and was made by a little boy in the middle of a sweatshop of Guangzhou, China. I'll just buy the fake ones that I see on Canal Street, man. I'm cool. The original price for a Nito ranges anywhere from like $3 to $15. This is according to Google. But then some people have the audacity to resell it on eBay for $170. But what's even more infuriating is that there's imbeciles out there, brain dead troglodytes, who are actually buying these. Somebody's selling a lot, 41 Nitos, for $2,000 plus $147 delivery. It's because of supervillains like this, cold-blooded and heartless monsters, that I can't get my hands on a Nito at 7-Eleven. Scalpers and resellers have definitely gotten worse over time, but this isn't something that's completely new and only popped up in recent days. Sneaker culture has been completely over by these people. Sometimes between the years of 2012 to 2018, there blossomed a very strange collective of people by the name of hypebeasts, whose main goal was to collect as much rare clothing brands as possible. A couple of the brands were Bape, Supreme. That's kind of, that's all I can think of right now. That being said, out of everything, nothing was more sought after during this time period than sneakers. Jordans were rarer than like whatever little statue Indiana Jones is trying to collect. And the reason it was so hard is because whenever there would be a new drop of any new Jordan collab or new colorway, what people would immediately do is as soon as it would drop on the website, they had already paid for bots to buy out every single shoe in every available size, leaving absolutely nothing. So before you could even place an item in your cart, they were completely sold out. That way, if you really wanted to buy the shoe and were really a true sneakerhead, your only other option would be to buy from one of these resellers, these scalpers. And every single time without fail, these resellers, eBay shop, or even in-person sneaker shops would put a price tag of hundreds of dollars more than what the shoe was actually bought for. It was always so frustrating too, because every single time people would complain about the prices, their first rebuttal would immediately be, well, actually, you must just be too broke to buy the shoe then. First off, go f yourself. Yeah, dude, I am broke. I'm 14 years old getting paid $8 an hour. Second off, why are you antagonizing people for not wanting to spend the same amount of money as a used car, all for a Travis Scott Jordan collab? This shit looks like a Chinese dupe anyways. The swoosh is backwards. Back when I was like 16 years old, I wanted to spice up my shoe game because I was like Greg Heffley wearing Converse for my entire life. So imagine the words that came out of my mouth when I found out I had to spend like $3,000 and save all of my minimum wage Marshall's paychecks where I'm cleaning pee off the bathroom floor and hanging clothes, all so I could afford a red and white Chicago Jordan 1. I'll tell you the words that came out of my mouth. It was f that, and I immediately bought a fake pair from China. And I mean, it was practically impossible to get your hands on any pair of shoes that had the Nike logo on it. And I mean everything, like even those Nike Monarch shoes that dads wear when they're barbecuing, you know, the big chunky white ones, even those were hard to find. And I've never seen anybody like under the age of 45 wear them. Nike was able to successfully combat this by just overstocking the shoes as much as possible, which is a good thing because reseller shops are closing down because the shoes no longer have any value because it's so oversaturated. But at the same time, genuine sneakerhead fans who had something of value and wanted something exclusive, it's not really worth anything anymore. It is actually such a Herculean task to pinpoint anything positive to come out of Scalpers, because I wouldn't be surprised if this exact same thing happens to Pokemon eventually, where Wizards of the Coast just decides to print the ever-living shit out of Pokemon cards to the point where they're just no longer valuable anymore. There's been a surprising amount of people who scalp electronics. Like when the PS5 first came out, it was pretty much impossible to find them because of how many people were buying them up and just selling them on eBay immediately. Come on, man, that's just cruel. There was already nothing to do in 2021. Everyone was locked inside doing nothing but shooting blanks and watching YouTube videos. I wasn't able to get my hands on a PS5 until like late 2023. And even then, people were scalping the slim version that was coming out too. More recently though, computer RAM prices, as I'm sure everybody knows, are really hard to come around because of AI data centers like hogging everything. Scalpers are on the same level. level as data centers, but that's another conversation. Anyways, people are buying up as much RAM as they possibly can from places like Best Buy and upcharging it for thousands of dollars. Moral of the story is that sometimes the evil wins, man. The scalpers are probably never going to go away. It's just, people just keep buying from them, so I don't think this is something that's ever going to end. Anyways, that's pretty much all I have to say. Make sure to follow my Spotify, my TikTok, and my Instagram, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.